everyone, welcome to BW Expert Talk series. Land lease in industrial zone has frequently been asked by our partners and tenants. So we are glad to have here today Ms. Hao Chen, who will be sharing with us land lease in industrial zone from a legal perspective. What keeps you busy this day, Chị Hao?
I would say at BWIT we are always busy. You can see that the markets have been bouncing back after the COVID-19. International investors are now coming back. Despite the inflation all over the world, Vietnam has been a destination for international investors. This has been keeping our leasing team and legal team busy since the early of this year.
Wow, that's a very great perspective for both the company and the market. I guess this is the reason why we are here today, to help manufacturers on their way to set up business in Vietnam. So from your experience, what are the key factors when it comes to land lease in Vietnam?
From my view, for a manufacturer who come to Vietnam to lease land for their business in Vietnam, he or she needs to consider at least 5 key factors. Number one is about the location. You know, for property, location is always important. So in this case, you need to see whether the zoning, the environmental requirement of the target location allow your business or not. For example, if your business is polluted, you may not be considering an area near the residential area. So then the question would be, where can you get that information, right? So you need to look into the zoning, the environmental requirement of the specific industrial zone to see what business are allowed for a specific location.
Right.
Yeah. And number 2, I would say, is about the construction master plan. You would want to know what you can build on a specific location, right? For example, what construction parameters are, how many floors you can build, what is the site coverage. You can see this information in the detailed master plan of the industrial zone where you look for. Okay. Number 3, I would say, is about
Land title.
Yes, exactly. You are right. Title is important, right? You know that if you lease the land from an IP developer, you can get the title for your land. But you need to make sure that the IP developer already obtained their title, so that you can obtain the title for your land and your building when you complete the construction. Otherwise, you cannot get it. So for some IP developer, they already obtained the title. If they haven't obtained the title yet, you need to make sure that they will obtain the title for their IP within a determined timeline. The fourth one is about the lease term, right? Yeah. So you would want to know how long you can lease the land for your business. So generally, Vietnamese law allow up to 50 years. However, you need to note that the IP developer might have leased the land long time ago from the government authority. So the remaining term of the land could be, just say for example, about 20 or 30 years only, right? You need to know how many years the remaining terms are, because the term will impact your land value. So you would ask me, where can you get that information, right?
From the developer, I guess.
Yes, exactly, you are right. So you need to look into the IP and the land lease agreement between the IP developer and the government authority to see how many years the remaining terms are. Okay, also important is about the rent payment, right? In Vietnam, we have 2 types of land lease. The first one is annual payment. The second one is upfront payment. So you would want to know that if the IP developer has been paying the rent to the government on an upfront basis. So if they already paid, then you can get the upfront land title for your land. And in that case, the land is considered your fixed asset, and you can use it to mortgage to a local bank for your financing, to get bank loan for your business here in Vietnam. For annual land, you cannot enjoy those kind of things. But everything goes with price, right? So annual land, the price is much cheaper compared to upfront land. But you also need to note that recently the Vietnamese government, especially for new industrial parks, they tend to provide annual land. The upfront land may not be available for new IP.
Okay, so location, construction master plan, land right use certificate, payment term, and lease term, right? That's a lot to remember, I think. So actually, what is normally more time consuming, whether choosing a location or construction itself, or is it actually the licensing process?
I don't think construction is the key issue here. The key challenging issue, I would say, is about the licensing. So to secure land plot for your factory, you need to sign a land reservation agreement with an IP developer. After signing that agreement, you can apply for investment registration certificate for your project. In Vietnam, we call it a project, but actually it's your target business that you are planning to undertake in a specific location. After that, you can establish your company in Vietnam. So this process normally is good take you from 6 to 12 months. Depending on how fast you negotiate with the IP developer and how fast you can complete your internal process and the licensing process as well. After that, you can start your pre-licensing works. So what does it mean? It means you need to apply for master plan, for FS, for environmental assessment approval, for design approval, construction permit, quite a lot of things.
Right.
Before you can start your construction. If you do it fast, it could be 6 or it's 9 or even more. Yeah. So now you can see in total 12 plus 6 is 1 year and a half, right? Yeah, then you can start your construction. Construction, it depends. As I mentioned before, how fast it depends. It's up to you. After you complete the construction, then you cannot put into operation immediately. There's some additional works to certify that your construction has been completed and put into operation. Then additional approval are needed. For example, you need to obtain the firefighting certificate. You need to obtain the completion certificate from the government authority so that you can start your operation. So in total, I would say this procedure would take you about 2 years or even more. It depends. It really depends.
Well, that's very helpful. And that's also all the time we have today. Thanks, Ms. Hảo, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody for tuning in. In the meantime, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.